This is a narration over process in ArtRage to create a portrait of Buffy. As you can see, the reference is there on the bottom left hand side. Just as always, laying in the blocks of colour, just copying the reference. I really like the reference because of the way the colour was set up, and I just wanted to initially reproduce that as much as I can do. Getting a nice background in, a nice neutral background in there, which always helps with the colours, and just moving colours around, smudging them in. You can see there's a lot of impasto going on there, which is the style that I like, and gradually refining. Everything looks roughly in the right place. It's just a case of adding in some colour. At the moment, the way this is going, it is just a straightforward render. I've never painted anything really using a proper oil brush, so I had no idea what I'm doing. So I'm almost fumbling around with figuring out how to do this to a certain extent. But this, I suspect, is the way an oil painter may go about things. Obviously, I'm working on one layer and I'm just applying paint and I'm blending it in because this is ArtRage and this is what it does really well. Things are starting to come out now. Things are starting to take shape. I haven't moved on to the hair yet. I don't do the hair too early on. I mainly focus on getting most of the things in place regarding the facial features. Now I'm starting to think about the hair a little bit, and also the background to get that to tie into the main picture. Still rendering, still fiddling around at the moment. I get a sense the character is starting to come through though. It's important to notice when doing a portrait of unique features of somebody's face. For example, Michelle Geller has got a very unique face regarding the nose, and it's important to get those things right. As you can see there, I'm focusing quite quickly on the rim light. That was one reason why I really liked this reference, because of the backlighting and just providing a quite an interesting rim light around the edges, in contrast, because you can see they're complementary colours, in contrast with the cool colour at the front. You've got a warm colour at the back. As you can see, this is just very much a basic render, just using the oil paint. Obviously, my style is not to refine it too much, because I have a habit of overworking it then, and the overall impact of the painting just gets lost. It gets lost in all the detail. You can work on paintings for hundreds and hundreds of hours if you wanted to, and you can get it to be really photorealistic, but this isn't really what ArtRage is for. ArtRage is for natural media painting and to get a general impression. Running it through GIMP, which I use all the time, a free photo editor, changing some of the colours just to get an idea of a variation of the initial colour set. I've got all the values in place and I'm fairly happy with what I've got, but I just want to saturate things a little bit, as I usually do. I like the look of saturated colours, especially saturated complementary colours. This is what I'm trying to achieve with this, and I am happy where this is going, I think. I always like to light the eyes up a little bit as well, to almost have a reflection of the light, even though it doesn't necessarily make too much sense in this context, because the light is kind of coming from the backs and never really reaches the eyes on the front. It's more of just my artistic license to do that, to bring the eyes out, because on the reference you can see that the eyes are quite dark, and it's important on portraits to draw the focus onto the eyes, and my main aim was to draw the focus onto the eyes, the nose and the mouth, and to try and get that intensity. At the moment I'm just adding in a few sharp lines, adding in some darks, because I didn't think the contrast was necessarily too good in certain aspects and it didn't really draw you into the face. Just refining the render more than anything at the moment. and thinking about something extravagant with the blur. This is just completely experimenting because I wanted some kind of ragged edge potentially I had in mind. And of course, this being Buffy the Vampire Slayer, lots of blood involved in that. I wanted a splash of some kind of blood over the top, and just to reduce the visibility, to give some kind of, like I just splashed paint over the top of it really more than anything, and to show that she is a vampire slayer. So overall this has come together quite quickly, and I'm pretty happy with the overall colours. Really just a case of refining and making sure I don't work too much on it and I don't overwork it. I was thinking about doing dripping blood from her mouth there. Almost as a subtle hint, I was going for the fact that maybe she is now a vampire. She's been turned into a vampire, just to add a bit of intrigue to the overall composition. And the final process is to go through Picasa, just do some very subtle filters on it, just to make sure everything is in contrast. And there we go. Quite a simple render really, pretty much using the oil brush most of the time. And that was it. Thank you very much.